So my family, the whole family, has driven nothing but Toyotas ever since 1999. Like my parents bought like a very first Toyota Sienna that ever came out, and then in 2000, my dad bought a Tundra. Which, I mean, before that, he's getting a new car every like 2 to 3 years. Nothing like fancy, just, Honda Del Sol, Ford Ranger, whatever, just basic little cars. He got the Toyotas, and all of a sudden he began to hold cars because he just loved them. They were so reliable and everything. And me just growing up, that's my family, right? So I did the same thing. Nothing but Toyotas. But I'm going to talk to you about why I bought a 2022 Ram instead of a 2023 Tundra, which I was waiting for a long time, or a 2022 Sequoia TRD Pro. I was looking at those two cars as like what I'm going to get to get back into camping and that kind of thing. I have a Sienna and a Camry right now. So I had a 4Runner, sold it, I had too many kids, so want to get back into camping. So naturally, it's like, well, there's a Tundra and there's a Sequoia that are the options. And here's why. I'll show you why I picked this over those ones. So I'll go and flip it around. We're just gonna do a walkthrough and show you this beautiful. I love this truck. Yeah, I'll show you. So it was the end of last year. So I bought this thing brand new, like the very first part of December. I've been wanting a tax write-off for my business, and I've been wanting a Tundra for a long time to build up into an Overlander. The 2023s, here's what killed the deal about the 2023s. Okay, this right here is what killed the deal. Okay, I wouldn't have even considered anything else if the new Tundras had a bench seat. Okay, this right here is why I don't have a 2023 Tundra. It's also why I have a Ram instead of any other truck that offers a bench. Now, at the time, there's a huge. This seat right here, by the way, guys, is amazing. This bench seat is so soft and so big. I've been on some long road trips with my kids. They fight over the front middle. My wife sat here before, just being a bench bunny, and doesn't complain. Her legs don't go numb. It's got a lot of room, for a bench seat compared to like most 1500 level trucks. It's got a lot more space, and a lot of trucks out there, I mean, GMC, Chevys, a lot of them, this is pretty firm and it's not that comfortable. This is actually a really nice squishy seat. So that is the main reason why, really the only reason why I didn't get a new Tundra, is because I didn't have this. And the 2022 Tundras, by the time they announced that the new Tundras wouldn't have a bench, the 2022 Tundras were all sold out, so I couldn't get an SR5 with the bench seat. And the used ones were going for almost $50,000 with the bench seat when they're only $41,000 new. I just couldn't stomach that, so I got this because it had a bench. It was also it was new. I could get one without a markup on it, and yeah, I mean, I love it. It's, that was why I didn't get a Tundra. Now, why didn't I get a Sequoia TRD Pro 2022? The reason for that is just the whole interior overall. We had an allocation. We had an order for a Lunar Rock TRD Pro Sequoia, which my wife she loved those. And but we went and drove a used one just to make sure we actually liked it, since we put money down for one. And I was sitting in that 2000 is a 21 TRD Pro Lunar Rock Sequoia, and I'm looking around, and those are about $66,000. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, I have a 2012 Toyota Sienna, limited all-wheel drive, 190,000 miles on it, and I'm looking around in that Sequoia, and I realize, I'm like, my van is nicer than this, right? Now my van's older, right? But as far as the fit and finish, the features, just the overall design, my 2012 van with almost 200,000 miles on it was nicer than the Sequoia, and I'm like, you know what? People talk about how it's a dated interior, and I thought it would be nostalgic at first, but once I was in it, and I realized, simple's kind of cool. Very minimal tech is kind of cool, but then I'm realizing I'm paying 66 grand for a 2008, and I just couldn't stomach it. So we began looking at some other options, and once we saw this truck, dude, we were sold. This interior is absolutely amazing. Got soft touch, got some wood, little. It's plastic, but it looks like some aluminum trim. It's just suede leather in here. On the seats, you've got the leather, the suede, perforations everywhere. Tons of legroom in the back for the kids. I do like that it's a lot of legroom, but then also a full-size bed, where Tundras are typically, if you have the Crew Max, it's like a 5.5-foot bed, and the extra foot makes a big difference on how much you can put back here. So I've done so far one big camping trip, 4 days with my 4 kids and 3 animals, and it was a blast, and we fit, But this truck has a lot of features, and this was $72,000 MSRP. But I love the big display. The Apple CarPlay is awesome. Got heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, adjustable pedals. Just a fantastic truck. Really, really nice interior, which I didn't think I cared about until I sat in a Sequoia, and it was so basic for how much money it was. It kind of turned us off. So, and then once we saw this one, we love the interior. It's kind of like a cowboy interior type look to it. It's classy for the wife, but also still kind of manly for me, and we just loved it. And we chose this over other trucks. Honestly, guys, I don't even tow. I've found reasons to. I've gotten dumped. I've used it to tow quite a bit of weight since I have it, but I don't own an RV or anything yet, and I've just been using it for projects and bar and dump trailers for stuff, for yard work. But I didn't need a Cummins. It just happened to have a Cummins, and which I wouldn't have gotten the 6.4 Hemi because of gas mileage and reliability. I love the Cummins, but I didn't need that. Honestly, guys, it was the interior that got us away from the Sequoia, and being honest as well, this is way better for camping than a Sequoia. With how many kids I have, having a bed is pretty critical. If you've seen my other videos, I did a camping trip. You'll see the back of the truck, how full it was of stuff and gear, and it was, it is definitely very useful to have. So it's a bit big for the trails. It's not really an ideal overlander, but overlanding with 4 kids is never really that ideal technically anyways. You just have to make some compromises. So I chose the size compromise because it's also just really, really, it's nice. We fit comfortably in it. This thing does good off-road as well. I also love the ground clearance. So I'm sitting stock right now. I have 35s on it. No lift, no leveling, nothing. But 35s fit. They're 11.8 inches wide because these stock wheels, which are 20s, which I wish I had 17s on it, or 18s at least, but they came with it, so it is what it is. But it's a 35, so it's pretty tall. It's decently tall. And I have, I should measure, but probably about to the bottom of my sliders right there, probably about 17, maybe 18 inches. So they sit high. They sit high and have good ground clearance. It has really good, just the weight. It has good traction, a lot of contact pressure. The only real problem so far has been mud. This engine is so dang heavy that if it's soft mud, I'm gonna find it and it wants to sink in. So that's only a negative so far. I have to kind of be careful with mud until I can get some bigger and wider tires on there with more of a mud terrain. But yeah, I appreciate that Ram made such a nice truck. Such a nice interior while also having a bench seat. I'm a family man, and I needed 6 seats. That was non-negotiable. So I had nothing but Toyotas for, you know, like 20 years, and I changed brands for those reasons. So, anyways, yeah, nice truck though. Ram does a good job. It's a really, really good looking truck. I'm very happy with it. We'll probably still get a Sequoia, a 23 Sequoia. That's nice and fancy and new. So I'm saving up for one of those for the wife. But this will be our camping rig, and we'll keep the Sequoia pretty instead of having that become an overlander. So